right, 7:02. So I know that we have a warm-up in front of us that looks a little bit different than usual. But I know that you guys have been working on math problems, and in preparation for the state test that's coming up, we wanted to give you a math transfer warm-up question. Now, I want you guys to quickly remind me, what was the text about yesterday? What were we learning about? Raise your hand, please. Nick? Okay, baseball player. Give me a little bit more than that, Victoria. Okay, there was a boy named Mitchell who kept getting strikeouts. Why was that such a problem for him?
Because his dad and his uncle were really good at baseball.
Okay, excellent. And when we learned about Mitchell, does anybody remember how many players Mitchell was saying was on his team? Excellent. There was 12 people on the team. And we also talked about how he would feel such angst and nervousness anytime he had to come up to bat because he felt that he wasn't that good at it, right? So I wanted to give you guys a question where we would kind of have to determine how many innings each player gets on the field. You have posted in front of you. You should have a pen or pencil out. The question is, if Mitchell's team has 12 players and only 6 can be on the field at a time, if the team plays a 10-inning game and everyone takes turns playing equally, how many innings does each player get to play on the field? So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes on the clock, and then we're going to go over it. But keep in mind, you guys can work together on this, and I'll be coming around to help you. You guys can talk.
I don't get it.
All right, I'm going to come sit with you.
I'm not sure if it's like 6 or 7.
All right, so how many players are on Mitchell's team? 12. Okay. If he has 12 players on the team, how many are actually able to be on the field at a time? 6. Okay. Now, I'm thinking to myself, 6 players could be on the field, but I'm not sure how many innings the game actually is. Does anybody still know how many innings? 10. Okay. So if there's 6 people that can be on the field in 10 innings, what do you think we have to do to determine how many opportunities a player gets? What do we have to do with those two numbers? Multiply, right? Because we want to be able to take both of them and be able to see how many opportunities, so we would have to multiply them together to get that answer, right? So if you do 6 times 10, let's do that on the full stick. If you need your calculator, guys, if you need your calculator on the laptop, you could use it, of course. What is 6 times 10? Okay, good. So now we see that there's 60 opportunities that a person has to play on the field during this game. How many players do we have?
Well,
In total. We have 12 players. And we want to see how many times each player will get. We talked about division earlier. What do you think you have to do with that number 60? Excellent. What is 60 divided by 12? Is it a decimal? What is the number? 60 divided by 12. Excellent. So that would mean that 5 innings each player would get, right? All right, guys, so we're going to be closing up. I want to give you guys a second to finish writing out your answers. Okay. Does anybody want to take a shot at how many they think it is? Eric? Okay, excellent. I'm going to actually show that to you real quick. Good, so it is correct. How are you getting 5? Anybody else want to share? Adam, you also have your hand up. Did you also get 5? Beautiful. How did you get the answer 5 innings per person?
I did 6 times 10.
Why did you do 6 times 10?
Because there's 6 people can be on the field at a time, and there's 10 innings.
Okay, so that gives us what number?
60.
Beautiful. And then how did you get to 5?
I divided 6 by 12 because there's 12 players on the team.
Excellent. So, as we know, that was striking a really nerve-wracking feeling for Mitchell, right? So that would be 5 different opportunities that he would be at bat, right? So, as he said, every time that happens, and how did he feel every time he had to go up there? Think, if he's not really good at it, how do you think it's making him feel every time he has to go up there, honey? Probably really nervous, right? Excellent. And how many at-bats, strikeouts did he have consecutively? Does anybody remember that number from yesterday? Somebody different? Dima? Yes. He had wound up having 20, and initially, right before that one bat, he had. Good. Great job, guys. So yes, he had 19. That last one had him at a total of 20. Great job. So now we're going to be bringing it back to ELA, but that was awesome. Can somebody read the learning intention for us? Eric, good job.
Students will be able to identify and analyze different types of conflicts in a story.
Good. And can we have 3 people read the success criteria? 1, 2, and 3. Thank you. 1.
I can explain the difference between internal and external conflict.
Good. Number 2. Good. 3.
I can identify examples of conflicts throughout this short story.
Good. And as you know, we've already been kind of being introduced to what was going on with Mitchell. So we're going to start by kind of thinking about a conflict, right? Who can remind me what a conflict is from your memory? Donna, what is a conflict? A problem. Now remember, some people were saying that it was an argument. An argument can be a conflict, but a conflict overall is just a problem, right? So remember that there's man versus self, and we talked about man versus self is what? A man versus who? Excellent. And Donna, a man versus himself. What is man versus society?
The place that he's located, like a group of people around it.
Okay. Think about like society in the sense of like the city. Not only just a group of people though, because think like if you go downstairs and you get into an argument with a group of kids in the schoolyard, it's a group of people, is that man versus man or is that man versus society? That's actually man versus man, right? Society would be, for example, like if you get a traffic ticket, right? And I'm just so frustrated with these traffic laws that they keep implementing in New York City. That would be like me against society, that frustration. And a bigger group of people that have some type of control. Remember, with society, it's more like a control factor, okay? Man versus nature. Who can give us an example of man versus nature? Somebody different? Somebody over here? Can someone give us an example of man versus nature? Allergies, right? We talked about that. Anybody else? Rain, right? Some type of even natural disasters, right? Beautiful. Man versus man, like we talked about, doesn't have to just be one person. It could also be what, honey?
It could be you versus someone else.
Me versus someone else. And what else? A group of people, man versus man versus man, right? Yes, beautiful. So we're going to quickly watch, next year, we're going to quickly watch this video. And we're going to try to identify different types of conflicts in fictional texts.
Part of why people love stories about superheroes is that their problems are just like ours, only way more interesting. Take Spider-Man, for example. He still struggles with things like everyday responsibilities and not acting weird in front of his crush. But he also has to worry about villains threatening the entire city. That type of problem in stories is called a conflict. It's a struggle between two opposing forces. But those two forces don't have to be two superheroes, or even two people. Anything that stands in the way of something a character wants creates a conflict.
Can anybody think about two opposing forces in a text that was read during 7th grade that was a conflict?
Mirror image.
Good. What two people do you feel like had a conflict? Anybody want to tell me? Alice. And who was that other person that she was kind of, like it was her opposing force, they were kind of against each other, trying to identify each other.
Definitely herself, because like she couldn't find out anything.
Definitely herself, but somebody else too. Good. Her sister, right? Excellent.
It's like this. A thing a character wants, plus an obstacle, equals a conflict. To help identify conflicts you come across as you read, try creating a conflict statement with a frame like this. That way, you can keep track of what the character wants, and who or what is stopping them from getting it. Let's use that Spider-Man example to try doing one. Spider-Man wants to keep the passengers safe, But Dr. Octopus has cut the brakes to the train. This type of conflict is called an external conflict. It takes place between a character and an outside force. But a lot of times, the conflict results from a force inside the character's own mind.
Does anybody know what Spider-Man's internal conflict was? Eric?
Like having the cousin with the extra.
Okay, so like we said, even though he had a lot of big external conflicts, he also had internal conflicts that he was dealing with on his own. And I want you to keep in mind that a lot of times in a text, there's going to be more than one conflict, but there's always one main conflict that's driving the text, right? In Bohawk, does anybody kind of want to determine what they feel like the overall conflict right now is?